Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand new Prog Report podcast. This is Roy. I'm joined by my good buddy Geoff. How you doing, man?
Hey, how are you? Yeah, hello everybody.
Man, the last time you and I did a podcast, just the two of us, I can't even remember. I don't
No,
even know
me
the
either.
last time this happened because the
All
schedules are
those
just so impossible.
and all those other people keep interfering.
I
But we got a
know.
holiday
Well,
week over here, so it can happen.
yeah, well, this is great. And so, look, as you've seen on the internet, there's one popular topic that seemingly every channel and everybody in the world is talking about, and it is the band. I'll let them
De
pronounce it.
Poitrine,
Well, let's try it again.
Angine de Poitrine.
Yeah, there you go. So Angine de Poitrine. I'll try to
Yeah,
say it as
yeah,
best as I
very
can.
good. Yeah,
A duo from Canada, Quebec, I believe. Been around since 2019. For people that aren't too aware, they wear these crazy costumes in black and white polka dots and play what is the phrase I didn't know was a phrase. Everybody seems to know microtonal music. Apparently, it's just commonplace. Everybody knows what this is.
I do know.
So you do now, right? So microtonal apparently are notes between our traditional kind of notes, the 12 notes that we're all familiar with from, C, D, E, F sharp, all those kind of things that you see on a piano, the 12 notes. And these are notes that are in between with different frequencies. And if we'll get into showing some videos about them, and I'm not going to claim to be an expert on everything about this band like maybe some other videos, but it is interesting, and it has gotten our group talking about them quite a bit. And I think
Yeah.
we've all kind of listened to it and found it sort of, I don't know, engaging. I mean, what's your initial take on it?
Yeah. I mean, I think I reflect what probably a lot of the YouTube comments say, which is, I started off going, "This is ridiculous,"
Yeah.
but 5 minutes later, I was still watching it, going, I don't know whether I love this or will ever listen to this again, but it's really interesting and it's really different, and here I am 5 minutes later still watching it. So yeah, I think it's a big conversation point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sort of just started popping up on everybody's kind of Instagram feeds, the reels and the two guys playing, and apparently they are men. I've read, I think that's correct. So
Martian man.
yeah,
Huh?
they're sort of aliens. There's this weird video of them doing an interview on some Canadian channel. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
Where they
in
have
their own language.
in their own language, and they have a manager who's interpreting. The whole thing's amazing. It's just so awesome. But a little bit of background. Let's see. I have the names of the guys. One goes by KHN, and the other one is Klek. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Apparently, the
And
two most popular baby names in Canada this year.
probably so.
Not really.
They released their debut Volume 1 in 2024, and Volume 2 just dropped a few days ago. And it has some of the songs that have been on this KEXP live performance that they've done. And I think that's what's been capturing people's imaginations with it, is the live performing. Because I think if you listen to it, that's one thing. It sounds weird. But when you watch it, then it really blows your mind. The amount of precision that has to go into this is incredible. And I have to give a shout out to another video that I watched by, I want to get the channel correctly, Oliver Gearing. If you go to this guy Oliver Gearing's channel, he did a really cool video really breaking down the looping and how that connects, and so they connect the looper to this drum kind of thing, and they're both listening to clicks at the same time. That helps the precision. But then the amount of different layers that this guy's adding, and then at certain points the drummer alone changes time signatures while the guitarist is playing three different layers of other loops in the same thing. And so then you get into that mathematics thing that Dream Theater kind of taught us, right? Where one guy's playing in 12/8, and then the other person's playing in in 4/4, and then eventually they kind of loop back to each other, that kind of stuff. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
All the while doing it with notes we've never heard before, which is a whole nother thing. I mean, so you brought up the point of I don't know if this is something I would listen to, and that's my biggest take on this, because it reminds me a little bit of like Primus back in the day, right? Because when you first heard Primus, it was like, oh, this is crazy. I've never heard it. It's hilarious. Like, I've never heard anything like this. And after a certain point, I was like, okay, I don't really want to hear this anymore. I sort of checked out on it. I know Primus has a lot of fans and they've been able to maintain a career. So I don't know. But what do you think about that?
I think that, well, I can only speak from my experience, which is, again, I saw the video first. I was sort of fascinated by it. I then got the music and I've been listening to it, and I'll happily listen to it in the car and enjoy it just as much. So I suppose that, not to overanalyze it, but I suppose you start off by going, there's these guys in polka dot costumes with ridiculous noses and all kinds of stuff, and going, what are they wearing? What are they doing? And you sort of get past that a little bit, and then you start listening to it, and there's well, how are they doing that? And you realize, oh, it's looping, and it's, they must have, again, my conclusion was there must be some kind of click underpinning what they're doing, but, that's not cheating, it just is what it is. And then you start listening to what they're putting together, and then he switches to the bass. Quite often, it starts with the guitar-y parts, the drum comes in, the bass kicks in, and you just, keep hearing this thing, and it's just, I just find it really, I just find it really fascinating. And I have then listened to it separately, in the car, without the visuals, without the seeing it. So I think it does stand up. Now, I suppose the thing I would say about it is, just because of the nature of how they put it together, it has to start with one thing and have lots of things added to it, which means that the tracks, they sound kind of similar. When you've listened to and the albums are quite short, they're like 5-6 tracks.
Right.
You sort of go, would I listen to this for 2 hours? I'm not sure that I would. Would I listen to it for sort of 30-40 minutes with kind of 4 or 5 different variations of that thing? Yeah, that I probably would. And I think in our chat we were saying, to me it's looping really to the next level, and I suppose, but again, that's not something that's brand new. But I was looking back at, I suppose, Robert Fripp in the kind of mid to late 70s was doing his Frippertronics thing, using big old real tape recorders, without an erase head, and playing and layering upon himself. It's got a certain amount of similarity to that. Towards the end of sort of when the new wave era kicked in, then he made some records doing that looping with a drummer and a bass player added. And actually it's quite similar to that. That was the kind of weird stuff that some of us were listening to, certainly when I was at school in the late 80s, when everybody was listening to Simple Minds and U2. We used to annoy our school colleagues by putting on that kind of music. And if you want to hear that by comparison, if you YouTube on Robert Fripp 1983 band version, that's one of those things. And then he formed a group called League of Gentlemen, who put an album out, and again it's not looping in that, but a lot of that kind of microtonal things that are just not quite in the normal note space. League of Gentlemen stuff has a lot of that, which is the stuff that led into the King Crimson Discipline stuff, which again has those, 2 people playing guitars in different time signatures through it. So that's the thing that a lot of the elements I find closest to what I've heard before, because I'm not a Primus or Tool or Zappa kind of person. But yeah, I just think it's, I can't think of anything recently that has captured, Like
Right.
short of, the Rush reunion or Mike Portnoy's back in Dream Theater, stuff that kind of grabs headlines and content, but that's just, you know, reunions and lineup changes. It's not particularly about the music. Like, what was the last musical thing that actually got people this interested? I can't think of anything.
No, it's
at all.
true. I mean, I think Sleep Token was sort of the one thing that sort of was like, hey, everybody's talking about this band Sleep Token, but and Sleep Token's certainly mega popular and more popular than this, but I actually find this more interesting
Yeah.
personally.
I think the other thing about the microtonal thing, I mean, you said about, we now know what that is. I mean, there's a lot of that, if you were like a piano player, right? Obviously that's a thing, but guitar players bend and kind of, slide and, use pedals. So that kind of intratonal space it's not something that's completely unfamiliar. The guitar that he's playing it on is really, with the really, really small frets, is really interesting. But you can achieve that kind of sound in different ways, albeit I don't think I could ever play it.
I mean, I feel like you could do it with a fretless, and I think guys like Bumblefoot and Guthrie Govan, I know, do that kind of stuff. That's a whole nother thing that I never know how you know where you are or what you're playing. So you ever watch Bumblefoot play, it's insane. It's amazing. So, well, let's go ahead and, I'm going to pull up the one track here that's sort of been all over the place. I think it's called Fabiank, if I'm pronouncing that. Who the hell knows?
You can't pronounce their names or the track names.
Yeah, it's
or
pointless.
the band name, really.
It's probably like just letters, but they pronounce it in some weird sound that you don't even know what it is. But we'll check out a little bit of this just for fun here.
And with gloves, or is it? I think their hands are painted. I thought it was
painted.
gloves.
Yeah.
As are their feet. And the covers on the drums.
It's crazy.
I wish I could do a Doug or a Beato and tell you what time signature that is, but I have no idea.
No, I don't even try. But you know what's interesting too is that he's barefoot actually for a specific reason, because he uses his toes to adjust things. It's got to be so much work. This is badass though.
Have you noticed where their heads actually are? They're actually like...
Well, yeah, the drummer is looking through the bottom. Yeah. I want to skip to this other part here that I think it's the part that is my favorite. This bass line is the greatest thing ever.
It's a shame that the drumsticks aren't polka dot. I'm really disappointed now.
That's a miss. That's a missed opportunity for sure. Whatever this part is, it's crazy.
Amazing.
That's a sick groove though, really.
Yeah.
changes again.
I think the other thing is that, you know, it's how effortless it looks. I mean, anyone who has ever used a loop pedal just to do a very, very simple thing will know, like, it's really, really hard to do. Anybody who you see performing has got to a standard where, you know, obviously they have it down. The choreography of doing what they're doing there, plus turning the knobs with your toes, you know, the room for error and everything is incredible. But the thing about that video that's also a bonus is I don't know if you've read the comments on it. I mean, I made a list of some of my favorites. It said, "This is our reward for a quarter century of Coldplay."
That's hilarious.
And the really common one is, "This is the best," sort of things, people saying things like, "This is the best thing I've seen since yesterday when I watched it the last time."
Yeah.
And there's like, are there any more viewers, or just the same 1,000 of us watching this over and over again?
That's funny too.
It says, AI, humans are done with music. Angine de Poitrine, hold my triangular Martian beer. And then,
well, we should get into that part about it, the AI part. I think that is interesting to me, because the point I've made when talking about AI is that, yes, it's gonna generate fake music and probably have #1 hits with some things because some people will not care, or all that kind of stuff. But it can't invent yet. I mean, we may get to a point where robots are all self-aware and all-knowing and start inventing things, and you know, hopefully that's past my lifetime. Who knows? or it's next week at this point.
Yeah.
But if it's only learning from past stuff and building on stuff we've already known, that's the one thing where the human element is unique, because you'd never make this. You'd never think of this. You'd never think this was popular. You'd have no reference to think this was popular. You have no reference to know to make polka dot costumes to go with the music, all of that. And that's what is going to keep music human, right? I think, and that's great.
Yeah, and people playing and people adding those human elements of creativity will always produce lots of different things, which, as you say, obviously there's a whole lot of things synthesized in there, but each unique kind of combination of people, will produce something different. The really interesting thing for me about this one is, what do they do next?
Right. I think that's the thing.
I was thinking about we've been I suppose another thing that maybe that was a little bit similar in a really, really different way, but also Canadian, also two people, was whenever kind of Crownlands had that kind of, I can't remember what that first song that they I know it wasn't their very first song, but the first kind of video that started to go viral on that.
Yes, the
which
20
was
minutes Starlifter, the 20-minute song that they played
Yeah.
live. Similar thing, because it did catch how are two guys playing this 20-minute
Yeah.
really complicated prog
Yeah.
song. Yes, that was, I don't know if it did it to this extreme and sort of a wow visual thing, but yes, that was similar. You're right.
And it was, and I suppose it was, it was bent in a certain way because they sounded like Rush. So it was
Yeah.
how did two people sound like Rush? Um, and that was kind of probably the hook that a lot of people got into. But I guess they've gone on and done other things. They've done the live video where they're playing it with a band. Like they're still doing their thing with a 2-person thing. I can't see Angine, having, bringing in a singer and, 3 other musicians, but who knows? And again, if the reference is, if the reference point is Zappa, that kind of musicality, the ability that they have to put that together could be channeled in all sorts of different directions. So
Yeah, I mean, what I always wonder too with things like this is that do the members at some point regret the decision to do the whole costume thing? Because now
Unmasked?
that's it.
They
That's
could have
it.
an MTV Unmasked special.
Now they're committed to paper macheing themselves forever, and that's a big undertaking.
But would it have been the same if it was just 2 guys?
No, it
That's
wouldn't.
the thing. It
That's the thing.
wouldn't have got, and I don't know whether they did it for attention or that's. I mean, by the looks of it, that's what they've been doing from way before this hit. As to what extent, and if that was the only thing that was in it, you would just go, well, that's hype and it's really funny and let's move on. But I think it's one of those kind of perfect storms where you have, as I said, what it looks like, how the music is made, and ultimately how it sounds, and it ticks all 3 of those boxes, which keeps it really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, that's a cool song. It's memorable. You can hum it and remember a part. Like that's so tricky and impossible to pull off.
Yeah.
I think it also proves, I think we can get to wrapping this up, but it proves, I think, in this day and age, in 2026, social media and all that kind of stuff, the visual is still, we're almost back to the MTV age a little bit in that the visual is becoming, because you got to capture people and you have 20 seconds to do it in a reel. And so I think I'm not going to say every band needs to gimmick themselves, because it's just, you have to be authentic to what you are. And if you're just a band out there playing music and that's what you want to do, more power to you and do it. But it's hard to break through, right? It's really hard to break through. Crownlands broke through because they were 2 people. They looked a certain way. They did a thing.
Yeah.
Sleep Token.
And because Crownland, again, I hate always referring to Crownlands, but it was the video. Again, it was the video.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
If it had just been the music, it would have just, people would have gone, oh, it's something that sounds like Rush.
Well, if they were a 5-piece playing that kind of stuff, and you're okay, cool song, and maybe people still like it because the music, I think, is good. But yes, does it grab you in 2 seconds? And then you have all these mask bands, right? Sleep Token and Ghost and all these things that visually, and then. Like the funny thing with Ghost, because we've talked about them before, and not everybody in our group is a fan, but their music doesn't match their look really. That's they're sort of an 80s hair metal sounding band with pop tendencies, but they look sinister and dark and gothic and all that. So and then Sleep Token has this whole weird image, but they're almost like a hip hop rock band with a lot of sort of that kind of element. So I think the visual does become more and more important when you're trying to capture people on their phones as they're scrolling through.
Yeah.
I got to consider something.
Totally.
But anyway, we'd love to know what you think of these guys.
Angine de Poitrine.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can I end with two more comments?
Please.
I think
Absolutely.
they're the perfect conclusion. The first one is this. So this is a comment on that YouTube clip. I did not expect to watch the whole thing, but neither did you. And the last one, which I think really is just one to leave hanging, and then we can end. Very astute observation. Chuck Norris passes, and this turns up. Coincidence? I think not.
Bravo to whoever wrote that comment. That's
Ponder
brilliant.
that.
That's a brilliant closing. Absolutely. Anyway, please let us know what you think. Have you been listening to it? Do you like it? Is it weird? Is it something that you think you might keep listening to? We'd love to know what you think. And keep up on all other videos on our channel, progreport.com, and our socials. And we'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all our socials and progreport.com. And we'll see you all again real soon. Thanks.